Picture this: a guy who smuggled exotic animals across international borders, survived multiple plane crashes, and ran elaborate cargo operations decides that he's going to revolutionize the way that you work out at the gym. This story shows how his invention made strength training accessible to everyday, regular people, especially those who were beginners to the gym, intimidated by gym culture, or who were just looking to get strong safely. This is Arthur Jones, and his wild life as a daredevil directly led to him solving a problem that every person lifting weights faces but never realizes. Jones invented variable resistance cams that match resistance to your muscles' natural strength curves, something that traditional barbells or dumbbells just couldn't do. The machines you see in every gym today exist because this action hero inventor figured out how your muscles actually work. And it changed fitness forever. But before we get to that, you need to understand who this guy actually was. Arthur Jones wasn't your typical fitness inventor sitting in some lab. Born in Arkansas in 1926, Jones grew up around medical professionals but ditched that safe path as a teenager to chase adventure across the globe. While most people were settling into normal careers, Jones was running an unscheduled airline, importing exotic animals, and living through dangerous flights that he later recounted in colorful detail. Jones lived by a line from science fiction writer Robert Heinlein. He said, "Specialization is for insects." And he meant it. This was his entire philosophy. One day he was flying planes across continents, the next he was managing wild animals for his private zoo in Florida, all the while he was sketching out inventions that would eventually revolutionize fitness. He refused to be just one thing, and that broad competence fed his design ideas in ways that narrow expertise never could. Think about it like this: if you only know one programming language, you'll solve problems in one particular way. But if you know 5 languages, you see and solve problems in different ways that narrow specialists might miss completely. Jones didn't just dream up these inventions in his workshop. He spent 2 decades on the move, jury-rigging machines in the middle of nowhere, learning about leverage and resistance through real-world problem solving. Every piece of equipment that he had to fix, every mechanical challenge he faced, taught him something about how force and movement actually work. And all of that knowledge and experience came together when he founded Nautilus, a company that would revolutionize the way people think about strength training. One day he walked into a gym and he realized that something was fundamentally broken about how everyone was training. The same maverick thinking that kept him alive in dangerous situations was about to solve a problem that millions of people didn't even know they had. Jones wasn't just some guy who wanted to create better gym equipment. He was a problem solver that happened to notice that traditional strength training had a massive flaw. So what exactly did this guy see that everyone else was missing? Picture yourself doing a bicep curl with a dumbbell. Pretty straightforward, right? You grab the weight, you curl it up, you lower it down. But your muscles aren't equally strong throughout the entire range of motion. Yet traditional weights, with the limitations of gravity, treat them as if they are. Here's what actually happens during that curl. At the bottom and the top of the movement, your bicep is actually a little bit weaker, but the weight stays exactly the same throughout the whole movement. So either you're not challenging the muscle at its strongest point in the middle, or you're overloading it at its weakest points at the ends, increasing the risk of injury. It's like trying to drive your car or ride your bike at the same speed, no matter if you're going uphill, on flat ground, or if you're going downhill. Your engine has different power needs for each situation. And this wasn't just theory for Jones. It's been reported that he was tinkering around with these ideas in the late 30s and early 40s when he was just a teenager, literally welding hooks to barbells and adding chains to change the resistance as you move through the exercise. Most people thought he was crazy, but he knew he was onto something. He spent years working with Percy Cunningham in YMCA gyms, building early prototype equipment that could vary resistance to match how human strength actually works. These awkward contraptions look nothing like what we think of today as modern gym equipment, but they were actually solving the problem and getting the job done. But the big breakthrough happened when Jones designed something that looked similar to a seashell. This elliptical cam system could make resistance lighter at your weak points and heavier at your strong points. Your muscles finally had a training partner that understood how they actually functioned. This was like discovering that we'd been trying to fit square pegs into round holes for decades. Every gym in America was filled with equipment that ignored basic human biomechanics. And Jones didn't just want to make equipment for elite athletes or bodybuilders. He wanted to make strength training more accessible for regular people who might be intimidated by gym culture. Beginners, older adults, people with joint issues, all deserved safe, effective training. Over the course of years, he continued to tinker and improve upon his design. And by 1970, he was ready to unveil his masterpiece. At the Mr. America competition that year, he unveiled the Blue Monster. This weird-looking contraption was about to change everything about how gyms worked. But Jones wasn't content to just build better machines, especially if nobody was going to use them, and people were definitely skeptical. Especially after years and years of tried-and-true results, people were not ready to make the jump to this machine. He knew he needed to get some attention, and he needed it fast if he was going to actually sell machines. So he made a claim so bold that it would shock the entire fitness world. In 1973, Jones set up what would become known as the Colorado experiment, a Colorado state with Casey Viator. His claim sounded impossible. That brief, intense workouts using only Nautilus machines could build serious muscle in just 28 days, going against everything people believed about building strength. The fitness world was skeptical, and rightfully so. How could working out with these machines less frequently build better results than the high-volume barbell training that everyone was doing at the time? Lots of people at this time were training 6 days a week, doing multiple sets of every exercise. Jones was saying that you could get better results working out just 3 times a week, doing a single set. His protocol was brutal in its simplicity. 1 hard set per exercise to complete failure, arranged in a tight circuit with minimal rest, all performed on his Nautilus machines. No cheating, no momentum, just pure muscular effort until you literally couldn't move the weight another inch. And at the end of his experiment, he published some wild claims. Figures that were widely reported and debated. He claimed that Viator had gained 45 pounds of muscle and lost 17 pounds of body fat in less than a month. And here's the thing. If nothing else, Arthur Jones was a storyteller. Much like my grandfather, he was never one to let the truth get in the way of a good story. He claimed that he had been mauled by a lion, and he swore up and down that the Colorado experiment proved that his machines could help you pack on that much muscle in less than a month. Some of it was probably true, some of it might have been exaggerated, but all of it made him unforgettable. But later analysis shows reasons to be cautious. Viator had been detrained and underweight before the experiment, allowing for rapid regain. Measurement methods were also questioned, and critics argued that the results were used as marketing more than pure science, which might have been true. But beyond the numbers, there are a few things happening here that make the results really compelling to me. The machines made it easier to take the exercises to full failure safely, something that would be much harder and more dangerous with traditional free weights. When you're doing a barbell bench press, for example, and you hit failure, you need a spotter or you're going to be in trouble. With a Nautilus machine, you could push your muscles to their absolute limit without risking injury. Jones promoted low-volume, high-intensity workouts that he claimed produced big results. The experiment shocked the fitness world and forced trainers and scientists to debate what volume and intensity actually mean. Sports Illustrated featured Nautilus as a phenomenon sweeping through professional sports, and Olympic athletes and major teams started adopting these weird-looking machines. And suddenly, strip malls across America were filling up with Nautilus training centers. People who had never set foot in a traditional gym were getting stronger. Soccer moms, office workers, retirees, they could all use these machines safely and effectively. Jones had proven that you didn't need to be a powerlifter or bodybuilder to benefit from serious strength training. His machines democratized fitness for millions of regular people who were previously locked out of gym culture. But success has a way of creating its own problems. By the 1980s, Jones had sold Nautilus Inc., and the company's fortunes and public profile changed over time. The rise of functional training cultures and renewed emphasis on free weights and barbell lifts shifted popular taste away from machine-focused gyms. Olympic lifting and functional fitness brought back barbells, kettlebells, and the image of lifting as raw, gritty work. Gyms ditched rows of gleaming Nautilus gear for power racks, bumper plates, and giant tires. Suddenly, if you wanted respect, you picked up a barbell, not a machine. And machines became the enemy of real training. But here's what people don't know. Recent systematic reviews and meta-analyses find no meaningful difference in hypertrophy and strength when training is matched for load, volume, and proximity to failure. So this means that the free weights and machines were actually very similar in terms of building muscle and building strength, as long as you were doing equivalent work. The backlash against machines wasn't really about effectiveness, it was about gym culture making the machines feel artificial or inferior. Think about it like this. It's like saying that electric cars are inferior to gas cars because gas cars have a cool sound. Which admittedly is true. Gas cars do sound cooler, but they're both equally effective at getting you from point A to point B. And if you're like me, over 30, or if you're dealing with joint issues, or if you're a beginner to the gym, machines offer something that free weights truly can't. And that's the ability to push to true failure with a much lower risk of injury. And for my ultralife crew who are looking to improve their longevity by building muscle, building strength, building flexibility and mobility, machines offer them a way to get their strength training in a time-efficient way that is safe and with less technical expertise required. You don't need to master perfect squat form to get stronger on a leg press. And getting stronger on the leg press will help them get better at their squat over time as well. And that's not to say that we only use machines when we do our workouts. We do a little bit of both. I think that's the best of both worlds. Some compound movements with barbells, kettlebells, dumbbells, and we complement that work with machines. The real lesson from Arthur Jones isn't that machines are better than free weights. It's that the best training tools are the ones that you're going to be able to use consistently and safely. And that brings us back to what Arthur Jones actually accomplished. Jones proved that revolutionary ideas come from refusing to accept this is how we've always done it. His machines are valid tools, especially for older trainees, beginners, or people with joint concerns. Research shows similar muscle growth and strength gains when you match effort and volume, whether you use machines or free weights. And if you've been neglecting your strength training lately, try this approach influenced by some of Jones's later writings. Start with 1 to 2 strength training sessions per week with high effort sets on machines or compound lifts. Train close to failure and adjust your frequency based upon your recovery. If you're recovering fast, you can get back into the gym. If you're still feeling sore, you might give yourself another couple days to recover and allow your body to adapt. And in his later writings, he said combining free weights and machines is probably the most practical path forward. Jones's breadth of experience led to an innovation that made gyms accessible to millions of regular people. And that's our goal with our Always Ready program. If you're interested in adopting some of these ideas and techniques, check out our Always Ready program if you want coaching support for strength training in a way that fits your life. And if this landed for you, hit like and subscribe and let me know in the comments. Are you team machines, team free weights, or team whatever gets me strong safely?